Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Purnima Esbert. I am studying in Engineering 2nd Sem with a Data Science stream. Today's my course is Procedural Oriented Programming. Course code is BPOPS203. Today's my topic is strings and the pointers. We will move on to the first slide, that is the strings and the pointers. Introduction to strings and the pointers. Strings in the C are represented as the arrays of the characters terminated by a null character. Pointers are the variables that store the memory addresses. Pointers are commonly used to work with the strings efficiently in the programming. And then character arrays with the strings. Character array terminated with a null byte declaration. Array size is not specified in this bracket, and then the local size of the array is one more than the number of the characters in the string, literal one extra for the null byte. And then static allocation, size of the array is determined at the compile time. And then we will move on to the next slide, that is understanding the pointers in the string. Pointers are the powerful tools that allow the direct accesses to the memory locations. Pointers can be used to pass the strings to functions by a reference. Pointers are the essential for the dynamic memory allocation in the C programming. And then we will move on to the next slide, that is working with the strings in the C programming. Strings manipulation functions in the C, such as the string copy, string concatenation, requires the pointers as the arguments. Strings in the C are typically stored as the arrays of the characters. Pointers can be used to iterate through the strings character by the characters. C programming string functions, these are the types of the strings that are string copy, string concatenation, string length, string up, string lower, and then string character, and etc. And then we will move on to the next slide, that is the difference between the arrays and the pointers in the C. Arrays are a fixed size collection of the elements, whereas pointers can dynamically point to different memory allocations. Arrays decay into the pointers when passed to the functions, losing the size information. Pointers provide the more flexibility in the memory management compared to the arrays. And then here we can see the pointer and the arrays. And then we can move on to the next slide, that is null terminated strings in the C. Strings in the C are null terminated, meaning they end with a null character. Null termination allows the functions to determine the end of the string. Pointers are commonly used to manipulate the null terminated string efficiently. Here we can see one program, that's a void show string. And then we will move on to the next slide, that is dynamic memory allocations with the pointers. Pointers are used to dynamically allocate the memory for the strings using the functions like the malloc and the calloc. And dynamic memory allocation allows for this flexible memory usage and the delocation. And proper memory management is crucial to prevent the memory leaks when working with the pointers. And then dynamic memory allocation. Application is dynamic memory allocator and the heap, and programmers use the dynamic memory allocators such as the malloc to acquire the VM at a runtime for the data structures whose size is only known at a runtime. And then dynamically memory allocators manage an area of the process virtual memory known as the heap. And then we will move on to the next slide, that is common pitfalls with the strings and the pointers. Buffer overflows can occur when writing past the allocated memory space for a string. Dangling pointers can lead to the accessing invalid memory locations. Forgetting to allocate the memory for the strings can result in the segmentation faults. Buffer overflow example. In this example we can see that buffer is 8 bytes, and then in this overflow 1 and 2 bytes are in the buffers. And then we will move on to the next slide, that is the best practices for the working with the strings and the pointers. Always null terminate strings to prevent the undefined behavior. Check for the boundary conditions when manipulating the strings to avoid the buffer overflows. Use the pointers arithmetic cautiously to ensure the memory safely. In this programming, we can see that int main is used and then character C learning, and then character C1 is a monkey, and character with a pointer is welcome, and then another character with a q is C1, and then C with the arrays 3 equal to h, and the q with the arrays 3 is equal to h. Print the C character and the P character and the Q character, and then finally print the three arrays h, and print f of percentage s with a backslash n, and here it prints the p. And then we will move on to the next slide, that is advanced topics in the strings and the pointers. Pointers can be used for the multiple levels of the indirection. Function pointers can be used to create the callbacks for the string manipulation functions. Pointers can be used to implement the complex data structures like the linked lists and the trees. Here we can see the memory representation of the array strings, that is from array 0, 1 and 2 in the scalar format. And then we will move on to the next slide, that is a conclusion. In this conclusion we can see that how pointer works in the C programming. Strings and the pointers are the fundamental concepts in the C programming. Understanding how to work with the strings and the pointers efficiently is crucial for writing the robust and the efficient code. Continuous practice and the learning are essential to master the intricacies of the strings and the pointers in the C programming. Thank you guys. Please do like, share and view my videos. Thank you.